A very good evening to all our DD India viewers. Welcome to Express News. In the next half an hour, we will update you with all that's making news from across the country and the world in a quick, succinct manner. I am Tanvi Taneja. Let us start. Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla jointly launched the Sansad TV in Parliament House Annex. The launch date coincides with the International Day of Democracy. The decision to merge Lok Sabha TV and Rajya Sabha TV was taken in February this year. Speaking at the inaugural ceremony of the Sansad TV, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said the launch of the channel on the International Democracy Day makes it even more relevant. Prime Minister Modi said this adds another important chapter in our parliamentary system. Public Broadcaster of India Prasar Bharati and Sansad TV have entered into a memorandum of understanding for uplink of Sansad TV in HD TV format free of cost in exchange of archival content of LSTV and RSTV. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla has called for strengthening the democracy. He was virtually addressing the 81st All India Presiding Officers Conference in the backdrop of the International Day of Democracy. The conference is aimed at deliberating the role of legislature in fostering effective and meaningful democracy. September 15th every year is celebrated as the International Day of Democracy to encourage governments around the world to strengthen and consolidate democracy. The day was observed for the first time in 2008. This day, celebrated by the United Nations, marks an opportunity to review the state of democracy around the world. Every year highlights a specific theme. While delivering the inaugural address at the 18th India-US Economic Summit, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh invited US companies to invest in India and contribute in realizing the dream of Make in India, Make for the World, envisioned by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Terming the defence sector as an integral part of not just the security but overall growth of the country, Rajnath Singh stated the initiatives taken by the government that have transformed India into a strong and reliable investment destination. He said India is now home to stable and secure government which focuses on economic growth through a series of reforms. The Prime Minister said in the rapidly changing times, the role of media and TV channels is also changing rapidly. He said the 21st century is bringing revolution, especially through communication and dialogue. Today is also the foundation day of Doordarshan. Doordarshan was established in 1959 and today it has 36 satellite channels besides providing free-to-air DTH service having 110 in its bouquet. The Delhi government has imposed a ban on the storage, sale and use of firecrackers during Diwali this year. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has said that due to air pollution concerns raised in the past few years in the national capital, especially during Diwali, it has been decided that just like last year, there will be a complete ban on storage, sale and bursting of all kinds of firecrackers this year as well. Taking steps forward towards the vision of an Atmanirbhar Bharat, the Union Cabinet led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi has approved the production-linked incentive PLI scheme for automobile and industry and drone industry with a budgetary outlay of 26,058 crore rupees. The PLI scheme for the auto sector will incentivize high-value advanced automotive technology vehicles and products. It will herald a new age in higher technology, more efficient and green automotive manufacturing. With the announcement of PLI schemes for 13 sectors, the minimum additional production in India is expected to be around 37.5 lakh crore rupees over 5 years and the minimum expected additional employment over 5 years is nearly 1 crore. The PLI scheme for the auto sector envisages to overcome the cost disabilities to the industry for manufacture of advanced automotive technology products in India. The incentive structure will encourage industry to make fresh investments for indigenous global supply chain of advanced automotive technology products. The PLI scheme for auto sector is open to existing automotive companies as well as new investors who are currently not in the automobile or auto component manufacturing business. The scheme has two components, with Champion OEM Incentive Scheme and Component Champion Incentive Scheme. The Union Cabinet also approved a number of structural and process reforms in the telecom sector. These are expected to protect and generate employment opportunities, promote healthy competition, protect interests of consumers, infuse liquidity, encourage investment, and reduce the regulatory burden on the telecom service providers. In the backdrop of outstanding performance of the telecom sector in meeting the COVID-19 challenges, along with huge surge in data consumption, online education, work from home, interpersonal connect through social media and virtual meetings, these reform measures will further boost the proliferation and penetration of broadband and telecom connectivity. This decision of the Cabinet reinforces Prime Minister's vision of a robust telecom sector with competition and customer choice. Antodaya brings the marginalized areas into the mainstream and universal broadband access to connect the unconnected. The package is also expected to boost 4G proliferation, infuse liquidity, and create an enabling environment for investment in 5G networks. The reform measures will further boost the proliferation and penetration of broadband and telecom connectivity. So the Cabinet has basically taken 9 structural reforms and 5 procedural reforms plus relief measures for the telecom service, including rationalization of adjusted gross revenue and bank guarantees rationalized. Spectrum auctions will be normally held in the last quarter of every financial year. India ramps up its vaccination drive. So far, over 75 crore 89 lakh vaccine doses have been administered under the nationwide vaccination drive. A total of 61 lakh 15,690 doses were administered the previous day. A total of 27,176 new cases were reported in the last 24 hours. Daily new cases are less than 30,000 for the last 4 days. India's active caseload stands at 3,51,087. Active cases account for 1.05% of the total cases. A total of 38,012 recoveries were recorded on Tuesday. The number of total recoveries stands at 3,25,22,171. Recovery rate currently stands at 97.62%. Weekly positivity rate at 2% is less than 3% for the last 82 days. Daily positivity rate at 1.69%, less than 3% for the last 16 days. India also has ramped up its testing capacity. Over 54 crore 60 lakh tests have been conducted so far. A total of 16 lakh 10,829 tests were done the previous day. On to business news now. The 30-share Sensex on Wednesday surged 476 points to end at a lifetime high of 58,723. The 50-share Nifty also rose 139 points to end at record high of 17,519. At the MCX, the prices of gold fell by 162 rupees to end at 47,098 rupees per 10 grams. Silver prices fell by 185 rupees to end at 63,400 rupees per kilo. Indian rupee surged 18 paise to close at 73 rupees 50 paise against the dollar. Crude oil prices rose by 52 rupees to 5,230 rupees per barrel on Wednesday as participants widened their positions on a firm spot demand. India's largest bank, State Bank of India, has decided to cut the base rate by 5 basis points to 7.45% from today. SBI has also cut the prime lending rate by 5 basis points to 12.20%. SBI kept marginal costs of funds-based lending rate unchanged for all 10 years. As part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the Ministry of Rural Development provided Community Enterprise Fund loan worth 8 crore 60 lakh rupees to 2,614 SHG entrepreneurs in a week. The loans were given for starting their micro enterprises in their villages across 19 states under the Startup Village Entrepreneurship Program. Elsewhere in Asia, key markets fell on Wednesday as weak Chinese economic data reinforced worries about slowing growth globally. So MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan dropped 0.8%. Japan's Nikkei 225 index shed 0.5%. China's Shanghai Composite Index fell 0.3%, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index plunged 1.7%. But South Korea's Kospi Index managed to gain 0.3%. World battles COVID-19. So far, over 22 crore 66 lakh and 87,000 cases have been reported globally, while the number of recoveries stand above 20 crore 34 lakh 10,000. The deadly virus has so far claimed over 46 lakh 63,000 lives globally. USA remains to be the worst hit by the pandemic. So far, over 4 crore 22 lakh and 88,000 cases have been reported in the country, while over 6 lakh 82,000 people have lost their lives. Russian President Vladimir Putin said on Tuesday that he was self-isolating after several members of his entourage fell ill with COVID-19. Putin, who has had 2 shots of Russia's Sputnik V vaccine, explained the situation to a government meeting via video conference after the Kremlin said that he was absolutely healthy and did not have the disease himself. Britain will begin a COVID-19 vaccine booster program for older and more vulnerable people soon as Prime Minister Boris Johnson's government relies on vaccines rather than further lockdowns to navigate the winter. Johnson hopes the booster program will mean that hospitals can bear the burden of all winter infections without the need for another lockdown. Boris Johnson also outlined a Plan B involving mandatory vaccine certificates in some settings, mandatory mask wearing, and asking people to work from home, which was being held in reserve. African Union Special Envoy Strive Masiyeva called on the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank to put a mechanism in place allowing poor countries to access vaccines. Director of Africa's Center for Disease Control, John Kengasong, said on Tuesday that less than 3.5% of Africans are vaccinated against COVID-19, far short of its official target of 60%. WHO Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus, speaking at the same briefing, said that the continent was being left behind by the rest of the world and that this would allow coronavirus to keep circulating. WHO has called on countries and manufacturers to share information on vaccine deliveries. The Dutch government on Tuesday announced it was easing COVID-19 restrictions and will introduce a Corona Pass showing proof of vaccination to go to bars, restaurants, clubs or cultural events. Prime Minister Mark Rutte said most social distancing requirements will be dropped from September 25th. South Korea continues to battle COVID-19. The country reported a total of 2,080 new COVID-19 cases on Tuesday. The surge in the capital region also continues. Heavy rainfall and strong winds wrought havoc in France, provoking floods. Local authorities have reported 2 people missing. Weather Service Meteo France had placed the God department in red alert over risks of flooding and storms earlier. Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga called North Korea's ballistic missile launch outrageous and strongly condemned the action as a threat to peace and security of the region. China's State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi met South Korean President Moon Jae-in and Foreign Minister Chung Wee-yong in Seoul on Wednesday as North Korea fired a pair of ballistic missiles off its east coast. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen outlined her goals for the 27-country European Union in her annual State of the Union address. As Germany's long-standing Chancellor Angela Merkel is going to step down following federal elections, she expressed confidence of great continuity from her successor. In US, Californians cast their vote in a special recall election held to decide whether to recall Governor Gavin Newsom. In Brazilian town of Piracicaba, at least 7 people were killed after a light aircraft crashed 15 seconds after taking off. The Venezuelan government wants a top envoy, Alex Saab, who has been charged with money laundering and is close to President Nicolas Maduro, to take part in its political dialogue with the opposition, a move that threatens to stir tensions. The top US general says secretly called his Chinese counterpart twice over concerns over the then President Donald Trump could spark a war with China as his potential election loss loomed, and its aftermath, the Washington Post reported. The 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly opened at the UN headquarters in New York on Tuesday. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the US administration will review its ties with Pakistan in light of Islamabad's support for Taliban terrorists, while professing to help Washington in Afghanistan. Dozens of Afghan women who reside in Tajikistan gathered at the Afghan embassy in Dushanbe to protest against the Taliban and their Pakistani allies in the conflict ongoing in Afghanistan. Afghanistan's acting foreign minister Amir Khan Muttaqi said that the international community should not politicize their assistance. In Russia, rocket booster Soyuz 2-1B blasted off, carrying 34 satellites from British firm OneWeb. UN Commission of Inquiry on Syria has said that Syria continues to be unsafe for any refugee return a decade after its war began. Israeli Jews this week waved chicken over their heads and emptied their pockets into a water stream in a set of rituals traditionally carried out ahead of their holiest day of the year, Yom Kippur. Traditional Jews perform the rituals to cleanse themselves from their sin ahead of Yom Kippur, or Day of Atonement, which began on Wednesday. In Tel Aviv, some Jews perform the Tashlik ceremony, where people empty their pockets into a running source of water, symbolically casting their sins out. In Jerusalem's Mia Shearim, people took part in a custom called kaparot by waving a live chicken over their head. Latvian free-runner Pavel Petkans turned a scaled-up pinball machine into his own personal playground in London. The impressive set measured 23 tons and 20 meters long. The set, which features global landmarks like the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty, was not for the faint-hearted, as it was slanted at a 45 degrees angle. Rock musicians strummed tunes by Johnny Hallyday as fans and bikers cheered and danced in Paris on Tuesday as the city unveiled the esplanade named after the late legendary French singer. A concert pianist has converted a canal boat into a floating performance venue where music lovers can enjoy private recitals on cruises traversing London's waterways. Masayuki Tayama, the captain of the pianist of the piano boat currently moored in London, said that the vessel was only one of its kind. In Spain's island of Gran Canaria, a 28-year-old engineer, Humberto Les, painstakingly collected a plastic waste from the shore at Playa Barranca Beach. The engineer then converted the plastic waste into furniture. Humberto decided to leave his job in Barcelona in the beginning of 2020 and return to Gran Canaria to develop a project to clean up the coastline. Humberto finds all kinds of plastic waste, from hard hats to bottle caps, in his collection expeditions and picks up, on an average, 5 kilos of plastic waste at a time. He then sorts the plastic waste by color to create bright products ranging from modern space-age tools to rings used as clothes hanger. A marzipan maker is offering a sweet aftertaste for Germans, sad to see German Chancellor Angela Merkel go. A traditional marzipan manufacturer in Odenwald, Thomas Huber, is hoping to sweeten Merkel's departure, giving fans the chance to keep a Merkel on their mantelpiece or even to extend her reign by a couple of years. The West German marzipan confectioners have been in business for 40 years, and while they have now machinery to do some of their mass production, they have held on to their handmade skills as well. From Rocky boxing gloves to Rambo headbands, memorabilia from action movie star Sylvester Stallone's Hollywood career are going under the hammer in a December auction seen raising around $1.5 million. Nearly 500 items from Stallone's personal archives are being sold, including costumes, props, scripts, notebooks and other memorabilia from the actor's biggest films, including the Rocky and the Rambo franchises. On to sports news now. India clinches bronze medal in the ongoing FIDE Online Chess Olympiad. Humpy and Nihal signed the peace treaty with their opponents to secure a 5-1 victory. Defending champions Shiva Thapa and Mohammad Hasmuddin among the country's top boxers who are vying for titles at the 5th Elite Men's National Boxing Championships. Manchester United conceded a dramatic stoppage time goal as they lost to Young Boys despite Cristiano Ronaldo scoring on his Champions League's return for the Red Devils. Goals from Thomas Müller and Robert Lewandowski settled the battle of the Big Two in the Champions League Group E as Bayern Munich claimed a dominant opening game victory at Barcelona. Chelsea opened their defence of the Champions League with a victory as Romelu Lukaku finally pierced Zenit St. Petersburg's stubborn resistance at Stamford Bridge. Alvaro Morata scored one goal and earned a penalty as Juventus launched their Champions League campaign by beating Malmo. In Champions League matches tonight, major lineup continue for the second straight night with the likes of Liverpool, Manchester City, Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid in action. The first martial arts exhibition took place in Kabul since the Taliban took over Afghanistan in August. Brazil's Gabriel Medina won his third surfing world championship, beating countryman Felipe Toledo in a new best-of-the-three final format. Hawaii's Carissa Moore, the reigning Olympic and world champion, capped a dominant year to win her 5th world title over Brazil's Tatiana Weston Webb in the women's final. And on to entertainment news now. Actor Ishan Khattar will next be seen in 1971 war drama Pipa. The actor has already started shooting for the film. Actor Chandan Roy Sanyal has started shooting for the upcoming season of the much-acclaimed series Ashram in Jaipur. Bollywood diva Kangana Ranaut is all set to play the role of goddess Sita in the upcoming mythological film The Incarnation, Sita. The makers of the upcoming horror movie Chori have dropped a terrifying sneak peek of the film. The movie stars Nusrat Bharucha in the lead role. Acclaimed filmmaker Christopher Nolan has given rights to Universal Pictures to distribute his next film centered on Second World War scientist J. Robert Oppenheimer and his involvement in developing the atom bomb during the war. Singer-actor Selena Gomez's hit comedy series Only Murders in the Building has been renewed for second season at Hulu. Actor Keegan-Michael Key will star alongside Timothée Chalamet in Warner Brothers' Wonka, a big-screen musical reimagining of Roald Dahl's classic children's book Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Comedian and Saturday Night Live alum Norm MacDonald has passed away following a 9-year cancer battle. He was 61 years old. Actor and director Tommy Lee Jones has turned 75 today. The actor is known for his roles in Men in Black film series opposite Will Smith. And And Broadway's biggest musicals roared back to life on Tuesday in New York's pandemic hit theatre district with screams, tears and standing ovations. So that's it in this edition of Express News. We will be back tomorrow same time with the top 100 news of the day. But our coverage of news and updates continues round the clock on DD India. Stay with us. Goodbye.